Okie dokie boys and girls, it is day 297 of bulking to 75 kilos with calisthenics only, and we have a squatting day. Now, today's video is gonna be shorter than the usual ones because I'm gonna do less training for my quadriceps. I wanna have my quadriceps recovered until their maximum capacity for Sunday when I'm gonna do a big leg day session. But that doesn't mean that today's training is gonna be shorter because I've been in the training room for quite a while now already. And that's because I've been doing rehab exercises. You know, when you are not supposed to train or you're not able to train the way that you are usually training. So for example, if you usually do a lot of squats and then today for some reason you're not supposed to do a lot of squats or you can't do a lot of squats, you know, oftentimes our first reaction is to think like, oh yeah, you know, less work, you know, I can just slack off. But oftentimes we all have these kind of things in training that we ignore or we forget, and we have like usually it's the rehab exercises or stretches or like the boring stuff, right? So for me that's the case as well. I usually don't do stretching, I usually don't do a lot of rehab exercises or strengthening exercises for like the small parts in my body. But today, since the workout is going to be shorter, I made sure that like at the start, before I even start my workout, I was doing some rehab exercises or prehab, I should say, you know, some strengthening exercises for my feet, for my shins. I did some recovery for my hip. Now I'm gonna do some hip extensions as well, you know, just to get some work on the glutes, to make them stronger. And then I'm gonna get to the squats. So even though the main part of my workout today is way shorter, I'm just gonna do 3 sets of squats, you know. In total, this workout might be longer than the usual workout because, you know, we all want to focus on the fun stuff, you know, on the exciting stuff. We want to focus on lifting as much weight as possible or doing as many reps as possible. But what's really supporting us and enabling us to do that is a healthy body. And, you know, in these times that you're basically free, right? You're not doing your usual workout. It's a good time to work on that. So that's what I did today. And basically, I'm gonna do the last part of that right now, some hip extensions. I actually have 2 kilos more on there than I usually do, so it's 28 kilos. I'm just gonna do 3 sets of 10. Nothing too special, but you know, just to activate the glutes, just to get stronger hips, and then we can safely and warmed up move to the normal squats. So yeah, let's go. Let's make this a wake-up call to do the rehab and the prehab, the stretching, and whatever the fuck we are supposed to do. Okie dokie, so hip extensions are done, warm-up squats are done too, which means that I'm completely ready to do some squats. Now, as mentioned, today I want to have my quads rest a little bit, so it's just going to be a little activation. So I won't be squatting hard, however, I will be squatting heavy. Now, heavy in the sense heavier than usual. That sounds a bit weird, right? I'm increasing the difficulty, but this is something that actually, when it comes to endurance-based workouts, when you increase the difficulty on your exercise, it's actually gonna, like the workout itself will actually become a bit easier because you're able to do less volume. You're not able to push yourself as far, you know, because if you use 50 kilos, you're able to push yourself to the point that you're only able or not able to do any 50 kilo squats anymore. But if you use 70 kilos, you will only be able to push yourself to the point that you're not able to squat 70 kilos anymore. But if you were to remove the weight and try 50 kilos, you would still have some energy in the tank. So in that sense, you know, a more difficult workout, or at least having a more difficult exercise in your workout when it comes to endurance, will make your workout easier. Now, I'm not going to go to my maximum anyway on today's workout because it would kind of defeat the point of trying to recover. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try these 70 kilo squats here for the first time at home actually, because I haven't done this before. So it will be quite fun, you know, even though it's a deload, there's something exciting, there's something new to try. 70 kilos used to be like, when I tore my ACL, when I like, you know, tore it like completely and I had to do like rehabilitation exercises, physiotherapy, like they made me squat. And at that time, like 70 kilos was quite hard, it was quite heavy. And even like after a year, when I like completely built up my legs again, I went to the gym with a buddy of mine, and basically I squatted 105 kilos over there, like as my lifetime maximum. But today is 70 kilos, you know. I expect it to feel super light. So it's gonna be exciting in the sense that depending on how light this feels, I'm kind of gonna be able to know how much my legs have gotten stronger over the past year, because I do believe that they have become stronger. I used to be able to pistol squat only, 35 kilos or maybe 40, and then I got all the way up to 56, and then I got even stronger after that, but I just got injured. So it will be quite fun to see the progress. But yeah, anyway, I'm warmed up, so ready to go. And yeah, there's nothing else to say. Just a couple sets here, 3 sets, maximum 10 reps, but we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, this feels hella light. That's insane. Did I make a miscalculation? No, all the weight, I have 70 kilos at home. All the weight is on my back and on my shoulders. That's insane. Alright, 2 more sets. As promised, maximum 10 reps, but this is easy. Oh, holy shit. This actually just feels disgustingly light. This is not supposed, 70 kilos is not supposed to feel like this. Or at least that was my thinking all of this time. But that's very fun, Even on deloads, you can have some fun because, well, you're not gonna be able to enjoy going all the way to your limit, but you are going to be able to enjoy the fact that the training that you are doing is feeling so easy. So that's it for today's workout. Very short. Well, not short. The main part was very short, but the actual workout is just as long as it usually is, because there's always work to do, There is less squatting today. That just makes room for something different. We want to slack off. We want to allow ourselves to slack off when anything goes against our way, or there is any excuse that we can use to not put in effort, right? There is this part in your mind designed for survival, but it's not based on today's world and society, That part in your mind that's working for survival, it's used to thousands of years ago when you had to go hunt for your food. Energy was scarce. There was no social media. There was no training for fun, right? You had to run not from dinosaurs, but from other animals, probably, I guess, right? So the part in your mind that's wired for survival is just like avoid any danger, avoid any pain, and eat as much as possible at all times, but don't get sick, right? That's basically what your survival part in your head is trying to tell you. So whenever you have like an excuse to not do something, it's gonna kick in and say, hey, you don't have to do anything. But we live in another world right now. You know better. You have this other voice in your head telling you to challenge things, and you have to listen to that as well, And basically, on this deload, I think some of us are scared to deload, including myself, because then we feel like we are ignoring this other voice, telling us to go hard. We're being kind to ourselves. We're being a bit too relaxed, right? We are not moving towards the goal as we should. But if you're scared of, not putting in enough effort because you're doing a deload, well, there's other things that you can do, right? Perhaps your training takes 1 hour less because of whatever deload or situation you're facing. But that means that you have an hour that you can, use to put in effort in other things. Like I mentioned, the stretching, the rehab exercises, the strengthening of small parts in your body. But also just in general, if it's not training, you can study something, You can study about the body, you can study about diet, you can study about training, you can study about whatever you're doing at school or work. You can still put in effort. And if you're doing that, if you fill in the time that you got free with something that perhaps you wouldn't do because, usually because it takes effort and you don't feel like doing it, well, do it today, Do it when you don't spend the usual energy on your main goal, training. So that's it for today's workout. I'm insanely happy with how it went. Of course, it's not fun that, you have to kind of hold back. But at the same time, I'm just baffled by how fucking light these 70 kilos felt. That's insane. That's, I can't fucking describe it. It's been so long since I've squatted anything above 70 kilos, because usually it's like a pistol squat, or, recently because of the injury, it's been 50 kilos, but 70 kilos, I never handle that kind of weight. And to just see it flying up like this it's so much fun. So yeah, very happy with how today's training went, and I'll see you tomorrow for a hamstring day.